Hello, good morning. This is an interview with Gopal RajGuru. It's the president and new Bacula Systems CEO. We are very thrilled with his participation in our podcast. And we also have Jorge here. What's the best way to spell your name, Jorge, the last name? Gea?
Well, thank you for asking, Heitor. I would say it's a difficult sound normally for non-Spanish speakers because in Spain you would say "gea." So it's but usually I'm perfectly okay with "gea" because this is how most people is saying it these days. For
Nice to meet you, Jorge. It's the CIO, right? From Bacula
CTO,
Systems,
CTO.
CTO.
you.
And I'll just make a small disclosure to our attendants. We are going to put captions, of course, for our Latin, Portuguese, and Spanish user base. So I'll make just a few disclaimers. The users will be able to post questions when this recording goes live, and then I'm going to tell them that's possible. Então, pessoal, estamos aqui com o presidente da Bacula Systems, Gopal RajGuru, e também Jorge, que é o CTO da Bacula Systems, e a gente está muito animado, é um novo CEO que chegou esse ano com muitas ideias inovadoras. O Jorge também é o líder aí técnico da Bacula Systems, e a gente vai estar traduzindo aqui e deixando aberto para perguntas. As melhores perguntas, como sempre, vão ter brindes, vão concorrer a brindes que a gente vai estar mandando pelos comentários, tá certo? Então, vamos em frente. So, Gopal, that said, I want you, if possible, to present yourself and tell your most exciting ideas that I already know for Bacula Systems and the future.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you, Heitor, for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here. And for all the listeners out here, thank you for your interest in and your support of Bacula Systems and Bacula. It is really a pleasure to be here and to talk about where we are going as a company, what we're doing. So, as Heitor said, my name is Gopal. I am actually one of the co-founders of Bacula Systems as well, 16 years ago, and have not really played an active role in the organization because I had another business and still have another business actually in the sales training and leadership business. And I've been doing that for many years. And only this year, at the beginning of this year, I took over as the CEO of the company here. And my ideas for the company are very much along the lines of where we're going already, which is to work more intensively with partners so that we have local presence in places. So Heitor and Bacula do Brasil are a very important partner for us because they bring local presence and the capability, the knowledge, the experience, the expertise, all the way to customers directly in Brazil, where and the rest of Latin America, where we work with them. And we're also developing in terms of a new interface for Bacula to make the power of Bacula easier to use. We're developing e-learning programs. We're developing many things along the way to help make Bacula even more powerful and more capable in terms of its security, its capability, its flexibility, its scalability. And that's part of where we want to go with Bacula.
That's wonderful. Very exciting news. Initially, I believe Bacula Systems' mission was to be the leader, right, in the backup market. And I saw in its website that it just changed. What's your view now? Do you plan to change that mission? How do you plan to pursue that mission?
Well, I hadn't seen a change in the vision, so maybe you're one step ahead of me. So what's the new vision exactly?
Let me.
I have to look it up here. I'm going to see what the new vision is.
It's the mission. Why to use leadership, sustainability. Well,
All right. Okay. So, I mean, our goal certainly is to become the leading player in the backup and restore market. That's certainly, I don't think that's changed at all. I mean, we say we is the leading enterprise open core backup and restore company, becoming combining Bacula's enterprise class open standard software with first class support and professional services. And I think that has remained all throughout since we founded the company. That's been exactly what we've always tried to do, and use that as a way to get to more people, to help them to protect their data. That has never been, I don't think that's ever changed.
Okay, that's good to hear. When compared, for example, with Amazon and other companies, do you think that user experience could be added to the Bacula Systems mission?
Oh, very much so. Very much so. And it's one of the things on which we're working right now, Heitor, actually, is to create. I mean, you know that we have a graphical user interface in the form of BWeb. And BWeb has been there from, well, I wouldn't say the start, but it's certainly from quite a few years ago. And it has been the graphical user interface that we provide for customers who want to use that. There are, of course, many of our customers who are quite happy to use the command line interface. That's where all the power of Bacula is still available. And there are those, particularly now in these times, that want they're raised on the idea of drag and drop, click, point and click, and they want things to be much more simple to use without actually reducing the power of Bacula in the background. And that's one of the things on which we are working today, is to create a Bacula interface that actually harnesses the entire power of Bacula while still making that power accessible and easier to use on a day-to-day basis. So there are the four aspects of using Bacula. One is to install it, the second is to configure it, third is to optimize it, and fourth is to use it. And we want to make sure that all of those are much more accessible and easier to do for the users of Bacula. Jorge is actually involved very deeply in that project, so perhaps he can talk a little bit more about where we're going with that project.
Sure. Yes, I would like first to remark a bit what Gopal was just sharing, but because we know that one or some of the key strengths of Bacula are flexibility. We are very strong in Linux environment. Here I would say that we took part of that Unix philosophy of being very atomic in what we do and try to do it very well. But of course, flexibility means also many parameters to personalize what you want to do, distributed components, all kind of scripts compatibility. So this is, I would say, like an edge of two faces, right? So complexity comes to play a role, and I would say that in general, historically, the backup world can present this inherent heterogeneous nature by itself, because we need to talk with all kind of systems, APIs, many roles in the company, different operative systems. So it's not an easy environment to manage. So here is where we try with this new project, this new interface. We want to use all the knowledge that we have in the company historically to solve problems, to do best practices, what is good for the majority of people in every different use case. And we are using that knowledge together with user experience experts. And with that combination, we are building this new tool from scratch. So this is going to be a very modern and a very usable interface that should allow to manage all of this complexity much more easily. But here, very important also, the part of the roles that also have been briefly commented by Gopal. We don't want to lose all the flexibility and the power that Bacula has. So this is going to be a role-based application, which means that every kind of different user, so no matter if it's, let's say, a manager, a CEO, or a super admin of the system, or as a backup operator. So they will have a different experience and they will see what they need to see. So this is more or less the vision on this new interface.
This is a really important point, Jorge. I mean, that we've really studied the type of people who use Bacula and created essentially a different version of Bacula for each one of them. So that role-based experience will be part of how we adapt Bacula to the needs of each of the different kinds of people while giving them access to the things they need. Rather than trying to present everything to everybody, we want to try and present only the things that are relevant to each user that is potentially going to interface with Bacula.
Well, that's great. It sounds amazing.
It will be. It will be.
Yeah, it's the center, right? My users, they are very excited and they are anxious to test that new interface. Is there an estimated release date for that?
I think at this point it's a little too early to actually talk about a release date. We have a preliminary version of this, a very early version of this, actually available in the online demo that you can download today. So that if you go to the Bacula Systems website, to baculasystems.com/try, you'll find there the link to download actually the trial version that's there today. And that has an early version of it. This is not what the final version would look like, but we wanted to at least have users have the opportunity to at least look at what a more simplified version of the interface would actually look like. So that's actually available today.
Whoa, I didn't know. That's fun. That's very nice. So, next topic. What are, Gopal, I know that Bacula have been achieving very successful and significant, relevant success histories, very large customers and deals. What, in your
Indeed.
vision, are the most iconic success histories that you highlight?
Well, I think there are many, and there are highlights from different aspects of what Bacula does in order to help make that interesting. For example, it's the security aspect. It's one of the things that I think about which we are most proud, is the way in which Bacula provides a very key component in an overall cybersecurity protocol. I mean, we are not in the cybersecurity business. I mean, that's the business of all of those other companies that provide the firewalls, the VPNs, and all of that. And that is the first line of support or the first line of defense, if you will. The second line of defense, if that is breached, are all the application-specific passwords and two-factor authentication and all of that stuff. That's what's inside the company. But then if even that does not stop a cyber criminal, well, then having an ironclad secure backup is one of the things that actually is essential as a part of the overall security infrastructure of an organization. And we can help provide that. So we play a role in that. And this is why organizations like, for example, NATO are using Bacula in order to do their backups, because they are basically a security organization. So it's quite clear that security is very, very high on the list for them. And they have been a customer for many years. But we also have very diverse customers as well. For example, another one for whom security is actually quite a concern because they're dealing in money transactions is PayPal. And that is also a customer of Bacula for quite some time. And we have other organizations as well, such as booking.com. So I think many of you, certainly I have used booking.com extensively to make hotel bookings wherever we travel. And every time you make a reservation, it generates a file at booking.com, which is today backed up by Bacula. So those are the types of customers that we have in many different industries. One of our favorite customers is the University of Ulm, and the University of Ulm in Germany, just a little bit west of Munich, is a very much a high performance computing center, and they generate huge volumes of data. And the only backup solution that allow them to really manage their environment and ensure that all of that data that they generate is secure is bacula. In fact, there's a very nice article written in Linux Magazine in German originally, but we've tried to translate it into English. And we can certainly, if you're interested in reading that, if any of you are interested in reading that, please let us know. Please let Heitor know, and he will get that article to you. It talks about the way in which they are leveraging bacula to create a secure environment for their incredible volumes of data. So those are some of the
Do you want to add something, Jorge? If you want, you can always also participate.
Yes,
Yes.
well, I mean, I would just remark that security is like since the beginning of the conception of Bacula is integrated, is in the roots of every part of the code. And so by nature, I would say, if you look for a secure backup solution, you should look at Bacula. But the thing is that in the enterprise version, we are on top of that, adding more and more features that try to surround an already secure solution with extra services, which is also very important. So we have today many different extra tools to analyze the data you are protecting, to check if it's safe, if you have any malware there or virus, and also even to check if you are following the best practices, or if you are using secure credentials, if you are configuring things right. So we have a whole set of services around, and with all the combination, I would say we can help any organization to really achieve this security goal that we all know that is so important today.
Yes.
Nice, wonderful. Yeah, I had no idea about the Linux Magazine, and I had no idea about the PayPal. Indeed, it's a very big company.
Okay. See, even you learned something today, Heitor.
I'm always learning. I'm always trying to learn. Yeah.
Exactly.
So this is more for Gopal. What would you be now that you are a few months in Bacula Systems? What will be the strategies for the next level for Bacula System? I know Bacula Systems is not as big as another competitors, as Vim, as Veritas, but we are growing a lot. This is no question. And of course, we have the advantage of being not that big because we can take better, you can give a better support. This is something that our users really like. It's the Bacula System support. We are more flexible. We can sometimes tweak and develop specific features for customers. So what are what is the strategy to achieve the next level, Gopal?
Well, I think it's actually more of what we've already put in place. So, I mean, we're talking about, having a new interface, a role-based interface for Bacula. I think that will help make it much more accessible to people. One of the things that we are doing is making it easier for people to try Bacula. So, one of the things on which we're working right now is to have a demo of the software, which is actually fully hosted. So there's no need to download or install anything, and they can actually just try Bacula and run it and see how it works and get a feel for what it actually does. And so, that's even one step beyond what we're doing with the interface. That actually creates a complete environment in which they can actually try Bacula and for themselves and just see how it actually works. We're also doing much more working with partners. So working with not only people who sell Bacula, but also others who sell complementary things to Bacula. For example, cloud storage providers. So one of the ones we've partnered with recently is StoreJ. Another one is Backblaze. So we are working with those cloud providers, as well as with Geyser Data, which provides a cloud to tape solution at a very, very affordable price. So those are three of the cloud providers that we work with. We're also working with on-premise storage providers like Exagrid, based in Boston. And those kind of partnerships, even though they don't sell Bacula and we don't sell Exagrid, vice versa for all of them. We actually work together cooperatively in deals to help clients actually create an end-to-end solution. So that kind of work is something that I'm trying very hard to spearhead at in the organization going forward. So I think all of this is just it's the formula, if you will, to move the organization to the next level. We want to expand our presence around the world. Can't do it ourselves necessarily because of, as you said, the size that we have doesn't necessarily speak to that very easily. But we do want to have presence everywhere, and partners are important to us going forward. And that's one of the areas on which we are absolutely going to focus. We even hired a partners and alliances manager who is actually putting together all the programs to help us to attract, to retain, and to motivate partners. So we're investing a great deal in this strategy.
Yeah, that's very good. Alliances are very desired. Yeah, very important, for any
Indeed.
company. Growth, better
Indeed.
performance, certified solutions. Yes. Gopal, this year we had a very big event, which was the Broadcom, the VMware acquisition by Broadcom.
Yes.
It changed the market. Many of our customers are looking into virtualization solutions, or maybe sometimes alternative solutions, and we know that Bacula it's very good on that aspect, because Bacula has integrations, with Proxmox, with KVM, with a lot of different technologies in terms of virtual machines backups. So how do you see that, and how Bacula Systems going to keep improving that type of technology?
Well, as you know, I mean, I'm going to let Jorge talk to this a little bit more, but I'd just like to just set this up a little bit. What we found, is that, as you said, the Broadcom's acquisition of VMware has created a very, very strong impact on the market. Their approach to pricing of VMware has created, shall we say, an exodus from VMware and moving to other platforms. Many of the other, from Kubernetes to KVM to many others, they're moving to those other platforms, Proxmox as well, of course, and they're moving to those other platforms. And that means for us, we support many of those platforms natively already. So that's good. So we offer a viable alternative for the customers who want to move away from VMware and to these other platforms. What we're learning in the process is there are, of course, many variants of those platforms and many different ways in which those other virtualization platforms are used. And that creates, of course, a development challenge for us. And we need to ensure that we're using our resources effectively as we can to ensure that we support the right ones that are going to become the most popular elements. We don't, of course, want to, go down the road of developing a solution which is only used by one customer, or not even used by one customer. We want to make sure that we have actually the kind of things that are sustainable for us, because again, as a small company, we need to look at all of the aspects and the way we use our resources effectively. Jorge, I'm going to let you talk to how this really it relates to what we're doing on a development front, because you're right in the middle of that.
Yeah, so I would say that we have mentioned a bit the good news, right? The good news is we already are covering a very good part of the scope, because we can talk of our KVM level solution. We know that on top of KVM, there are different flavors already in the market, but it seems that other players are entering this scope, and they are adding even more solutions. But we have already Proxmox, we have covered the Overt and Red Hat virtualization, with, by the way, it's also used now in the Oracle virtualization platform. We have also a QEMU plugin. We have a solution for OpenStack, working at the single level, Nutanix. I mean, we have a lot of them. So what we can foresee is that on some of them, depending on how the end environment is built over them and how they are using it, we can foresee that maybe we need to empower a bit the development, for instance, in OpenStack. Why? It's because of this heterogeneous scope where the same solution can be really built in different ways. I mean, they can change the hypervisor, they can use a component or not use it. So every use case is different. And I would say that since this movement on VMware and Broadcom, the situation is not stable enough, I would say, to let's say, okay, let's put all our bet on this platform or the other. So we need to try to be flexible, and we have part of it covered. And the good thing also is that with Bacula, we work with the concept of plugins. So our core product is stable in terms of we add features, but we don't need to touch it in order to support a new technology. Doing so, the development can be faster, and we can adapt more quickly. But if we ask ourselves who is the winner, or right now, honestly,
No idea.
I cannot tell.
No idea. There's no clear winner at this point, right, Jorge? I mean, it depends on each customer's choice, and there are so many choices that they can go to at this point that it's sort of all over the map today. There's no clear winner, as you said.
Exactly.
Heitor, I don't know. Have you seen anything different than that? Have you seen there's one of those platforms that being favored more than all the others?
Well, in Latin America, we are having many customers going to Proxmox. It's a solution from Austria, and it seems to be very reliable. We have that in our laboratories for many years right now, and that's the main partnership that we are having here with our integrators, and we are very excited with the pipeline. It seems to be very big when we talk about Proxmox and Bacula together.
Oh, that's excellent. That's excellent. Because it's one of those that we support directly, of course. So it's a very, as far as we're concerned, it's an excellent alternative because we have support for it already directly.
Definitely, and it's funny to hear that, Heitor, that you are using it, because it's the same for us. We are internally, for many different purposes, we are using Proxmox since some years now. So I would say, of course, this is just examples of people using it, but you can feel that it's a good platform. And again, as Gopal said, this is natively already supported by Bacula, so which is good news for us, of course.
That's great. So next topic. I guess you already talked a little bit about the new B Center. Jorge, I don't know if there is anything else you want to add regarding it.
Honestly, I don't think. I mean, what is missing is to release, of course, when we have it finished and the people see it in action. Because if you come from Bacula, you will be surprised from how is doing the things, how easy is configure clients, backup jobs, restore things, and everything. But if you don't come from Bacula, you will find a very easy platform to use, which historically, because of the reasons I have spoke before, for some people, it was like not the first feeling, right? So I think it's the idea. It's more or less what I already shared. So
that's great. So I believe the next questions, of course, Gopal can add something, but are more for Jorge. No, yeah, maybe Gopal can talk about that. It's the HPC. I can see that Bacula Systems is really investing on the HPC marketing. I believe that you must have some very interesting success histories on that. So what are the main Bacula benefits for that area?
I'm again, Jorge, I think can speak to this as well. But I think there are a couple of things that are really important for the HPC market. And you're right, Heitor, we're very much trying to position ourselves in that market. We attend a number of trade shows focused on that, and we are in discussions with a number of partners in that field as well. And I mean, the things we offer today that's already work, the power of Bacula, which in the HPC environment, people are quite willing to use the interfaces that we have already today, particularly the command line interface and the very, very powerful scripting capability. They love that. The speed and performance and security of Bacula, and of course the fact that data volumes, which in the HPC environment typically are extremely large, those are not a part of the cost configuration. So for them having a large petabyte, multi-petabyte databases that they need to back up, those are for Bacula, they are actually quite easy to do and quite inexpensive to do compared to our competitors. But one of the things about which we are talking just now is native support for one of the most common file system. In fact, I think it's the most common file system in the HPC environment, which is Lustre. And we've been in discussion with a couple of partners who are involved very heavily in that environment, and will help support the development of a Lustre plugin, basically to do that. Now, I don't have a timeline for that. We're still very much in discussion about it, but it is one of the things we're doing to really show and position ourselves in that HPC market as squarely as we can.
Mm-hmm.
Jorge, are there other things that you can point out from a technical point of view that would be particularly useful for HPC customers?
Sure. I think, of course, we know the challenge. So it's we have an enormous quantity of information to protect, and that has some consequences, right? Also, not only because of the licensing or how to have Bacula, but also because of technical features, we can help HPC environments to save some cost. And this is because of all the techniques to back up only what has been changed for the different sources of information. We can deduplicate the information, we can compress it, so we can help really in that sense. At the same time, we support all the different destinations. You can send the data to tape, to any flavor of cloud you need to use. So that's also important in this scope. But also, I would say we have features to really read information in a performant way. So we have tools to read from specific protocols like NDMP for NetApp NAS boxes, and we can handle here even millions of records where we have heard from some customers that is not the case really with other vendors, and this is one of the facts that they remarked to us. But if you are not using NetApp, okay, what file system you are using, it's supporting snapshot. We have a snapshot-based techniques again to read what has changed. Then you don't have, you are not using any of those file systems, any of those NAS, no problem. We are also providing different features. For instance, recently we had the BigFS plugin. This plugin is for those situations where we don't have a good technique to handle a very big target file system, and we need to go with regular, what we call file daemon in Bacula. So here, this plugin will take care of doing the right parallelization to read all the information based in a very simple configuration. You just need to tell how many workers you want to use, and we will read all the information in parallel in the best possible way in terms of performance. And this is automatic, and this is really fast, and it's going to use all the power of your network, of your disk, and have the best of it. So I would say that all of this flexibility and all of these solutions to help to optimize cost, but also to protect any use case that you could experience in HPC are also important and are also a part of the success that we have in this scope. And as Gopal said, we will continue working on it, supporting more technologies and adding what we see is needed each time. So
Great, amazing, Jorge. It's very exciting, these features that you mentioned. So next topic. I think this is more for Jorge. Oh no, for Gopal actually. I don't know. Maybe for both. Other competitors such as Vim, they offer a free version of their software, and you see that the customer, sometimes the customers even prefer to use Bacula Community, but of course because the free version of Vim has VM backup capabilities and among others, they say, okay, I'm sorry, but I'm going to use that free edition. So does Bacula Systems have any plans to provide a free Bacula Enterprise Edition, not the trial, but something that could be useful for the users and they can upgrade later for the licensed version?
It's a great question, actually, Heitor, and the answer is yes. We do plan to do that, but I think the time at which it would make the most sense is when we have the new vCenter interface to Bacula. That's when I believe it would actually put Bacula's best foot forward by having this new interface and a limited version of Bacula, as Veeam provides, as some of the other vendors provide as well. Having a free version of the full product, if you will, of the enterprise product, but limited in terms of the number of nodes or the amount of data or something like that. So we haven't decided on how to actually create that, but we do definitely have a plan to, at least I have a plan to make that available as part of it. And as you pointed out before, we do have and have had, even before Bacula Systems existed, a community edition. And the community edition is very, very similar in its capabilities, minus the support and the plugins, minus those things. It is effectively the Bacula-based system. It's exactly that. I mean, so the open source version does provide effectively a free trial of the product, in fact, a free use of the product.
Speaking of the community Bacula edition, do you have the roadmap? I mean, maybe a plugin that will be made available for the community edition, an interface? Do you have any plans for that?
There is one thing that I think we can share, because for the community, the plugins, of course, needs a study, and we need to think every time we release one or what can be released and what not. But there is the Bacula installation manager, which is a tool that is going to simplify, as well as we have commented with vCenter, with a web interface to manage Bacula. Before you have an interface, of course, you need to deploy the software. This was improved a couple of years ago in Bacula Enterprise with a very simple script. It's a one line. You can configure it as you want and ask what to install, what not, and some configuration about it. But if you don't put anything, of course, it will do the work with the default values. And this tool, Bacula Installation Manager, will be released to the community to provide exactly the same service. And I think it will help also a lot to expand even more the adoption of Bacula community. Then in parallel, of course, what for sure will make part of Bacula community are all of those small, but sometimes not so small, improvements that we are adding in a daily basis on the core on Bacula Enterprise. So they arrive a bit later, of course, than the enterprise version, but at the end, all of them are included, and I think it's usually a very big chunk of new things.
No, that's great. Yeah, the community users will enjoy that a lot. So we are approaching the end. One last question. Are there any new exciting features or plugins that you can disclose that will be released? We are very close partners to Oracle Cloud, for example. Do you have any plans of creating a plugin to make computing image level backups for Oracle or any other plugins that you can announce?
Well, I'm sure you will know, but we have released last year Amazon EC2. We are going Azure VM, so we have, let's say, the two of the main players already covered. Oracle Cloud, I would say it's very likely the next one to have, but I think we cannot share any timeline for it, but for sure it's under the scope and the next candidate, I would say, to be covered in this cloud virtualization stuff.
That's great.
But here, maybe one of the ones that we will release, we can announce it because it's on the QA phase, so it will come with the next version. It's also about cloud, is Amazon RDS, so the databases on Amazon Cloud. So we have developed a plugin for that, and I think it's a very exciting one. So hope to answer a bit what you were exposing.
That's great. That's great, Jorge. So, any final words, Gopal, Jorge? It was an amazing interview. Thank you so much for being able to join. This space is yours, and so anytime you want to make announcements regarding Bacula Systems, feel free to just schedule with us. What you have to say to your customer and prospects as final words?
Okay, so final word. Okay, so three final words. One, Heitor, thank you for inviting us. It's been a pleasure to be here and to talk to both you and to the users that listen to this podcast. Second, Heitor has been a close partner of Bacula for many, many years, and Bacula Brazil continues to be a very important part of our presence in Latin America, a market to which we are very much committed, and it's something that I want to reiterate here is, we are very much committed to our customers. And the third thing is to thank you as the users of Bacula, whether it's community or enterprise. Thank you for your support of this terrific platform. We would invite those of you who are in the community that want to come into the Bacula enterprise world and to enjoy the support that other Bacula enterprise customers enjoy, then please do. You are more than welcome to come to that, and we would love to have you there. So thank you. That's all I have to say.
Jorge?
No, I think it's super well said by Gopal, so I don't want to add anything else. Just thank you, Heitor, and thank you for each Bacula user in the world. That's all.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for your participation. Gopal already had a podcaster voice, right? His voice is deep, so he's used it to.
Exactly.
You cannot say the same for me, right?
Sure we can. Sure we can.
I know. Was joking.
No, thank you, Heitor. It was very, very kind of you to invite us, and thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, guys.